Good morning, everyone. Let's stand as I pray the opening prayer. Thank you. Father, in the name of Jesus, the Son of the living God, we thank you this morning for life. Thank you for waking us up in our right minds. We also thank you, Lord, for protection and guidance for being here. And Lord, we ask you, as we go through this day's proceedings, that you be the first. Take charge. Whatever shall be said and done, it will be done in your name. And we ask you, Lord, that we will benefit from this meeting. And when we should have left here, Lord, we ask for your divine protection on our way homes in the name of Jesus.
You may be seated. Thank you, Mrs. Dresden. We will now have the national anthem. At this time, I'll take the opportunity to welcome you all to this, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Labor Talks and Roadshow. Honorable Colonel Charles Jr., Minister of Labor and Social Security, Your Worship, the Mayor of Mandeville, Councillor Donovan Mitchell, Garfield Green, CD, Custos Rotolorium, Mr. Wayne Chen, President of the Jamaica Employers Federation, Mr. St. Patrice Ennis, President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, and yes, he's walking in just now, Mr. Brandon Mako, unfortunately, is not here, Ms. Gillian Corodas, Divisional Director in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security with responsibility for industrial relations and other services. Mrs. Marvel King Drysdale, who offered prayers. Other directors and members of staff of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, members of the business community and of the Employers Federation, job seekers, media partners, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Or I should say howdy, because we're in Manchester. Howdy? Uno hearty? Wonderful. We are coming to you live from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security YouTube channel, MLSS Jamaica, and we are also live on RJR. As indicated before, I'm Diane Jennings, Acting Permanent Secretary, and I'll be doing the chairmanship duties today. And it is my pleasure to be your host for this morning's proceedings. Welcome to our Regional Labor Talks Roadshow here in the cool, refreshing, and serene parish of Manchester, the parish of my birth. Unfortunately, I stayed here less than a year. and I blossomed in the parish of St. Anne. This initiative, the Labour Talks Roadshow, is led by a dedicated team at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, driven by our hard-working and transformative leader, our Minister of Labour and Social Security, and our Minister of State, the Honourable Norman Dunn. Complementing the team in the ministry, we are ensuring that Jamaicans are informed, empowered, equipped with the tools necessary to navigate the evolving world of work. Today's event, therefore, is part of the wider island-wide roadshow series designed to increase public awareness and to spark meaningful discussions on labor relations and decent work in Jamaica. This is not a new initiative, but an ongoing effort to engage stakeholders across the island after successful stops in Montego Bay, St. James, and Runaway Bay in St. Anne. We are now proud to deepen the dialogue and pave the way for more employment opportunities in this region. The region comprising of Clarendon, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth. Our theme, Transforming Jamaica's Workforce for Greater Resilience and Sustainable Development, carries a profound message that we will continue exploring on the journey to ensure sustainable progress in the labor market. This is also significant as we are celebrating in Jamaica the lowest ever recorded unemployment rate of 3.5%. Just like the axle for a wheel, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is an important vehicle for movement and support. We are propelling and accelerating the government's goal of expanding the labor market, strengthening workforce resilience, and embracing technologies to enhance labor productivity. Equally important, we continue to foster industrial harmony, which is vital for advancing Jamaica's economic development and meeting global standards. Jamaica remains committed to leveraging our international partnerships in accelerating our sustainable development goals. The Roadshow serves as an important information hub and a platform for action. Through today's presentations, discussions, and engagements, we are aiming to ensure that we are accelerating the pace of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, while preparing us to participate more meaningfully in global conversations and decisions. Additionally, this roadshow seeks to foster greater inclusion in the labor market by focusing on targeted employment programs for youth entering the workforce, for persons with disabilities, and persons who are in the rural areas of Jamaica, some of whom are usually not given the opportunity to participate in forums like these. This event also provides a one-stop shop for the services and information offered by our ministry. Today's roadmap, therefore, includes a variety of information sessions and interactive discussions covering strategies for improving efficiency and productivity in key industries and building workforce adaptability in response to climate change and other global shifts impacting the world of work. So job seekers, look ahead. Go, because you have the green light. At this job fair, several companies are hiring on the spot. This is a fantastic opportunity to get to make the right turn in your career to get to your destination. And I've spoken to some of you earlier, and you are rearing to go. You're just waiting to get that opportunity. And I'm sure you will have that time where you can be interviewed and also armed with the information that can steer you in the right direction. So remember to remain professional and positive. Ask the clarifying questions and embrace the possibilities. I urge you to take full advantage of today's opportunities, whether by exploring new career prospects, learning about your labor rights, or seeking guidance on business development. The resources available through the Government of Jamaica and the Ministry of Labor and Social Security are designed to empower you as you advance in your careers. To our union members, we also welcome you as part of the tripartite arrangement. Your presence here is a testament of the collaborative work and effort that we are engaged in. To our employers in this region, I encourage you to continue investing in workforce development by fostering the environment of upskilling and reskilling. Indeed, a highly skilled and adaptable workforce is key to sustaining productivity and driving economic growth. Special words to our students and young professionals. We are all the future of Jamaica's workforce. Creativity, innovation, and adaptability will shape your communities and our nation's economic landscape. So embrace technology, commit to lifelong learning, and actively seek the opportunities for fulfilling career development to remain competitive in this ever-evolving job market. In closing, I extend my sincere welcome to you all for joining us, including our media partners who are here to help us to spread the news that we are on a road for sustainable development and workforce resilience. I also want to highlight and welcome the ministry's team, the dedicated team at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, who have worked tirelessly in planning and steering the roadshows, and particularly this one. Your commitment and collaboration have been essential in making these events a reality. Through your collective efforts, then, we continue to strengthen our workforce and drive national development. So as we engage in today's sessions, let us stay focused on our shared vision, a resilient, sustainable, and inclusive labor market that empowers every Jamaican to thrive, not only in Jamaica, but also in the global economy. Welcome one and all, and thank you all for joining us today. At this time, as we are all about getting our workforce strengthened and being the first of which will come from His Worship, the Mayor, Councillor Donovan Mitchell, Mayor of Mandeville. We now invite the Mayor. Greetings.
Honorable Garfield Green, Custos Rotolorum of Manchester, Honorable Pernell Charles Jr. in his absence, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, industry partners, friends all, media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. No man, that is not a Manchester morning, you know. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, that sounds a little bit better. Let me add my bit of welcome to you to Mandeville. I know you would have had a little bit of challenge this morning, especially getting here. Myself was stuck in the traffic for a little while. So I can't complain because some of these things do happen. Madam Acting Pierce, I will leave during the talk this morning because as I speak, we are celebrating our first year of elections in Jamaica as councillors. But most importantly is that my councillors and my officers are in a training session with the Integrity Commission, and I want to be there to make sure that I get something, so I learn something, so at any time I will know what to do when I'm filling out that form. So I will leave during the course of the deliberations. Transforming Jamaica workforce for greater resilience and sustainable development. It is indeed a privilege to bring greetings at this important regional Labour Talk Roadshow, hosted by the Ministry of Labour and Security. This initiative under the theme Transforming Jamaica Workforce for Greater Resilience and Sustainable Development is not only timely but necessary as we navigate a rapidly evolving global landscape. A resilient workforce begins with education and skills development. The Ministry's collaboration with institutions like HEART, NSTA, and our tertiary and vocational institutions are critical in equipping Jamaicans with skills for the future. Programs such as labor market information systems continue to be the valuable tool helping Jamaicans identify opportunities in high-demand sectors such as technology, renewable energy, and modern agriculture. As Benjamin Franklin rightly said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. In a world driven by technology, our workforce must not only keep up but lead the way in innovation and digital transformation. The Ministry's initiative, including Jamaica's Social Protection Strategy, are enhancing digital literacy and supporting entrepreneurship by embracing digital tools and innovation. We are ensuring that Jamaican businesses and workers remain competitive on the global stage. As Nelson Mandela wisely said, it's always seemed impossible until it is done. The strength of our workforce is not merely in its skills, but in its holistic well-being. I commend the Ministry for prioritizing fair labor practices, safe working environment, and robust social support system through programs like PATH and the National Insurance Scheme. These initiatives does not only provide safety net, but also empower individuals and families to build resilience. Galatians chapter 6 verse 2 says, "Bear ye one another's burden and so fulfill the law of Christ." As a nation, then we support each other, we will all thrive. Our pursuit of sustainable development must be matched by our efforts to create sustainable employment opportunities. By collaborating with JAMPRO and NEPA, we are transforming challenges into prospect, particularly in ecotourism, sustainable agriculture, and the renewable energy sector. These industries promises not economic economic growth, but also environmental stewardship, building a Jamaica where prosperity and sustainability go hand in hand. In closing, as we engage in today's discussion, let us keep our minds open to new ideas, our thoughts set on positive change, and our hands ready to work ahead. Proverbs 16:3 says, Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. By committing to initiatives like the Roadshow, we are not only strengthening our workforce, but we are building a legacy of resilience and sustainable progress for generations to come. I thank you, and may this session inspire meaningful dialogue, fruitful partnership, and tangible actions that transform Jamaica land we love. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Indeed, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And I'm sure we will be open to new ideas to share while we share in this session today. With the government's vision as our guide, we will accelerate the conversation with our employers, who are a critical part of the driving force of transformation. With this, we want to welcome a member of the tripartite who is with us today, representing the Jamaica Employers Federation. Let us welcome the President, Mr. Wayne Chen, CD, to bring greetings.
Thank you, Madam Permanent Secretary. You know, I was thinking, Costas, Mayor, and my colleague, St. Patrice Ennis, head of the Joint Trade Union Movement in Jamaica. And I say colleague, but I'll come back to that in a minute. I was thinking as I was coming up here, Madam Permanent Secretary, that it's ironic that this is my hometown, and I don't believe I have ever spoken in this town as president of the Jamaica Employers Federation, even though I've spoken in everywhere from Georgetown to Geneva to Apia and Samoa. I've been all over the world representing employers all over the Caribbean, North America, South America, Europe, and never in Mandeville. It's a very odd thing. But here we are this morning at a very, very important roadshow, and it was your officials that said, this is Mandeville, I have to be here, you know. But they say a shoemaker never have a good pair of shoes yet, St. Patrice. And it's important I highlight my labor colleague, because as I was introduced as an important part of the tripartite arrangement. It's one of Jamaica's best kept secrets that social dialogue and partnership has really achieved great things for Jamaica. Where are we today? We're at 3.5% unemployment, the lowest in our history. Economists will tell you that we're actually at full employment. Everyone who is looking for a job has a fair chance of finding a job. But yet still we have a massive dilemma. The massive dilemma is sustainability, is the attainment of decent work, which my partner in the tripartite arrangement will tell you that we want better wages. We want sustainably good economic opportunities and jobs. And we're not there yet. Today's event is an important step in that road. How do we get our people better jobs? How do we get them to earn more? How do we raise productivity? I looked up the figure last night, and Jamaica's productivity rate is at around $9 per hour worked. By comparison, Barbados is about $17. The Bahamas is about $32. Trinidad is in the $30 range. How do we get there? The only sustainable way to get there is, of course, we're going to have some labor market reform. I mean, our regulatory and legal environment. But as individuals, we have to ensure that we continuously upskill ourselves in market-ready things, what the market is willing to pay for. One of the areas we speak about is introducing technology and innovation into traditional sectors, as Michael Sampson, who I just met this morning, is doing on his farm in St. Elizabeth. This is a farming area. This is an area post-bauxite. This is an area of many service industries. What are we doing as individuals to take advantage of new and coming technology, new and coming management systems to make ourselves more productive, to make our organizations and enterprises more productive. Because the only way to sustainability and improved economic performance and sustainably improved earnings is greater and continuous productivity improvements. And this event this morning is timely. It is targeted. It's not just about finding our work, I would hope. It's also about sharing ideas that the things that we would like to have are imbibed personally into individuals and turned into practice. So I'm happy to be here, and I welcome you all to a productive day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chen, for those insightful words, as usual without a script. So we know that it is coming from the heart, and we know your passion for labor market transformation. Let me use this opportunity to welcome to the podium another member of our tripartite from the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, Mr. St. Patrice Ennis, the president. We noticed that the union has been clearly in full throttle based on what's happening in the landscape. We know that there are several protests and so forth, but I know he is prepared to not just have the car throttle, but to ensure that there is settlement and harmonious relations as usual. Let's welcome Mr. Patrice Ennis.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I have to have a prepared script because I'm coming after the president of Jeff, and I'm supposed to say nice things about him. And so, but before Madam Moderator, Costas, His Worship, Mayor, the President of Jeff, I don't know if the minister is here, but if he is, not yet, on his way. Okay. Colleagues, fellow proletariats, yes, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Now, the theme is indeed timely, as my predecessor had mentioned. And on behalf of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, and that is an umbrella organization of the unions in Jamaica, about 11 of them, we extend warm greetings to the Ministry of Labor and Social Security on this occasion of the Labor Talk Show. The chosen theme, transforming Jamaica's workforce for greater resilience and sustainable development, echoes the very principles that the JCTU advocates for. A labor force that is adaptive, empowered, and aligned with the nation's long-term development goals. In an era of marked by rapid technological changes, global economic shifts, and unprecedented challenges, it is imperative that the Jamaica workforce is equipped with not just to survive, but also to thrive. This roadshow highlights key issues that are central to the JCTU's mission: productivity and resilience for the future of work. As my predecessors mentioned, productivity is something that we all focus on, both at Jeff, JCTU, government, all. It is indeed the cornerstone of economic growth and national competitiveness. However, True productivity cannot be sustained without a commitment to decent work. Decent work, employment condition, and promotes work-life balance. There is a direct correlation between productivity and decent work. When employees feel valued, protected, and fairly compensated, they are motivated, innovative, and committed, leading to higher levels of output and efficiency. As Jamaica focuses on building resilience for the future of work, it is essential that productivity strategies go hand in hand with policies that safeguard workers' rights and well-being. And I add here to recognize also collective bargaining as a fundamental right. Next theme, labor market supply, shortage of skills, mismatch employment opportunities. We're glad to have that theme as it addresses the gaps between labor market demands and workforce skills. The JCTU believes in the power of partnership among government, trade unions, private and current future employment opportunities. We believe in the tripartite arrangement. We believe, as Wayne said, it is one of the secrets in Jamaica, and what we need to do is involve more of our partners in this process, and perhaps not make it such a secret that persons are well aware that Wayne not only talks to me at these forums, it's mainly at these forums, but talks to me sometimes at other fora. But we do have a collaborative relationship, and we do have a ministry and a government that is also supportive of those kind of relationships. As we build an inclusive and resilient workforce, which is to include self-opportunities and self-employment, a resilient workforce is one that leaves no one behind. And this is a current ILO theme. Leave no one, no worker behind. We must ensure that opportunities for meaningful work exist for all Jamaicans, regardless of gender, age, ability, or background. Now, the promotion of self-employment and entrepreneurship is a key driver for economic independence and community development, especially in underserved areas. Equally important is ensuring that self-employed individuals also have access to protection and resources that uphold decent work standards. The JCTU stands committed to working alongside the Ministry of Labor and Social Security in fostering dialogue, shaping policies, and implementing initiatives that will future-proof Jamaica's workforce. Together, we can create a labor market that is dynamic, equitable, and capable of supporting sustainable national development. As the discussion unfolds during this labor talk show, we encourage all stakeholders to contribute openly and constructively. It is through collaboration and shared responsibility that we will achieve the transformative change needed for a stronger Jamaica. So we at the JCTU fully endorse these initiatives, the Labor Roadshow, Talk Roadshow, put on by this ministry, and I also want to encourage and congratulate the ministry staff for the hard work that they do in putting on this function. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. St. Patrice Ennis, and also for highlighting the need for collaboration and partnership and ensuring that the tripartite, government, employers, and the unions can continue to work together to foster the dialogue that's necessary and also to ensure that we have this dynamic workforce. Thank you. I should indicate that our minister has been listening online. He is on his way here because he was at post-cabinet press briefing where he was making some significant announcements in terms of some of the transformation activities that are being engaged in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. So he will join us in person shortly. But before we hit the next milestone on our journey, we're going to take a short detour and enjoy some entertainment that will continue to fuel our spirits for the rest of the day. At this time, I'm going to invite Mr. Seymour Heron, our saxophonist, to present us with a cultural item.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This thing is not working, you know. Good morning, everybody. Only a few over there. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was instructed to play only 3 songs, but I got the best news a while ago. Play until the minister come. So in the name of Jesus, traffic, hold up, minister. Nothing can reach you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Encouragement sweetens. Only 3 people. Encouragement sweetens. Yeah, so you're encouraging me. And because you're encouraging me, yes, my darling. Somebody just bring a cup of coffee for me. Praise God. I don't know why I'm urged to play this song. I have no idea. Yes. I highly appreciate you for doing this. Really, seriously, I was looking for an opportunity to do this. The Bible says, I boast in the Lord. In 4 months, I'll be 80 years old. Hey, that goes so totally, Adam. To God be the. To God be the. I can't hear. I said, to God be the.
Glory. Wonderful. Congratulations and happy birthday when it comes. Last time we had someone with a disability who was our keynote entertainment personnel, and today we have Mr. Heron. Thank you so much. So, Minister, thinking that we have given you enough time to breathe, and we have had a smooth ride so far, and I hope you had that smooth ride coming into Mandeville, but we are about to hear from someone who will put the pedal to the metal and take us through the next phase of this exciting transformation in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. I encourage you all to hold on tight. Our keynote speaker is about to take us on a ride through the vision and future of Jamaica's workforce transformation. Let's welcome our Honorable Minister of Labor and Social Security, Honorable Pertinent Charles Jr., to give the keynote address.
Thank you so much, PS, and good morning, still morning to everyone. Apologies for not being here earlier. I had to attend post-cabinet, which was not planned before. But of course, when you are called upon, you have to respond. Let me acknowledge His Worship Councillor Donovan Mitchell, my Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Jennings, and other officials from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Mr. Brandon Macker. He's not here? Okay. All right, in his absence. We acknowledge the Costas who is here. We acknowledge my colleague and friend, Mr. Wayne Chen, representing the Jamaica Employers Federation, Mr. St. Patrice Ennis, President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, Evangelist Marva King Drisdale. Is Ms. Corodas here? On her way. Other members from the Industrial Relations and Allied Services Department in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, other directors as well, members of staff who are here, and members of the business community, media partners. I hope that I have not left out anyone, but good morning to everyone. The Member of Parliament, I know, is on her way. I actually was trying to hold off so that she could speak before me, but even though it is not usually protocol, when she arrives, hopefully we can give her an opportunity to say a few words. I was listening to some of the presentation on the way in. Technology has allowed us to now do our live streaming. And a lot of what is said is critical in our discussions around the labor market that we have now and what we want it to be in the future. And so I'm honored to be here in the Gulf View Hotel, where I was earlier this year with a number of graduates before me who had just finished some skills training program put on by Mr. Damian Young. And they were eager to get into the labor market. Now we are here discussing how our industrious people and the commitment that we have made to them can assist us in ensuring that the historic unemployment rate of 3.5 that we have is not just a number, but that it becomes more in terms of its meaning and how it impacts the lives of the Jamaicans that we serve. This morning, when we discussed at Postcab, the labor market, I was able to let them know that as a ministry, This is our third in our series of the major labor road shows. We started in Montego Bay, where we had, I think, the largest, Mrs. Millerstein, the largest one, maybe 1,200 persons were there. And then we went to St. Anne, and now we're here in Manchester, where we expect to have our 20 employers and to have the participants doing their on-site interviews and receiving job opportunities. This is just a part of a much more comprehensive effort to drive the resilience in our labor market. We've had maybe 44 in total for the financial year, right? And so, though we've had 3 major ones, there are several smaller and still impactful job fairs, information sessions, interactions, constructive social dialogue that we continue to engage and to have to make sure that Jamaicans are getting as much opportunity as possible to be prepared for the workforce. I know that, like me, many of you who are associated with the ministry or associated with organizations like Jeff, like the Confederation, you will have persons attending to you and saying, I can't get a job. What's going on? I sent out my resume to 50. One young man said, I sent out my resume to 50 persons, 50 employers, and I have not even received a response. I said to him, let me see the resume. When I saw the resume, P.S., I said, I can see why you have not received a response. Because in the first paragraph, he had 3 errors. He spelled Jamaica wrong. He put his address where he had his phone number. What I'm saying to you is, for many persons, there's a sense of entitlement that a job should just come to you. And a part of what we're trying to do is to expose your mind and expand your thinking that there is work to be done beyond the government, beyond our stakeholders providing opportunity for you. You have to be prepared to take on the blessing that is waiting for you. And we are here to help in preparing you. We have work readiness sessions, helping with resume writing, helping you to understand how to speak confidently. If I am going to be interviewing you and I walk through the room to go to the room that I'm going to interview and see you slouching, almost like you want to go back to your yard, it already starts to give me a perception of who you are beyond what you're going to present. And so a lot of what we do here at these road shows is have conversations with persons who are entering or seeking to enter the labor force so that they are better prepared. Before serving in the ministry, with my foundation at the time, I had the opportunity of putting together a workshop for about 14 youngsters up in what was then my father's constituency. At that time, I was very far removed from the thought of being involved in politics. But I was very involved in supporting him. And we had identified my group maybe about 15 years ago. These 14 youngsters who at least signed up for the opportunity, Mrs. Millerstein, to be engaged in career training. What we did with them is that as they walked through the door, we started to assess them. And we assessed how they walked. We assessed whether they said good morning, whether they asked to be seated. And there's a number of metrics that we had put together. And then we explained to them the perceptions that we had based on what they had shown us. And they were floored. When I mean floored, I mean blown away, because many of them realized that what we received was not the intention that they had. It wasn't a long workshop. It was just maybe 2 days of working with them. But when you checked the records that we had when they walked through that door first to their exit interview, the dramatic change and improvement came not just from being told how to structure a resume, how to make sure that you're compiling all of your experience and what it is that you see yourself being able to do, but more so in terms of the attitude. The attitude that we were able to pull out of these youngsters and to sort of sharpen them and empower them to understand that you may be competent, you may be capable, but if you don't have the right attitude, you're not going anywhere. Okay? So a big part of the discussions that I try to have whenever we have the road shows, whenever we have the information sessions, and even in my one-on-one discussions with participants who are job seekers especially, is to ensure that they understand the importance of the right attitude to complement the aptitude. It is critical if we're going to have productivity, if we're going to have the kind of ordered and organized labor force that we require, a labor force that is resilient and that can really respond to all of the evolving changes that we're seeing now with the gig economy and just the dynamic features that have come, particularly post-pandemic. The world has already changed. We used to say the world is changing. It changed a long time. It's done. It's changed. And continuing to change. And so what we call work and what we define as work is a moving target at this time. It gives us a massive work ahead of us. Let me welcome the Member of Parliament, Ms. Rhoda Crawford. Gives us a massive task in ensuring that we are creating the kind of inclusivity, because this thought, what was his name again? The gentleman who says he's 80. Mr. Heron. And I want you to note my words as an attorney who says he's 80. I saw him bounce a while ago and nearly lick the ceiling. So I don't know. But had my father been here when he would laugh at Mr. Heron and say he's a boy. My father now in his 89th year and perhaps able to spring as much in his step. But I digress. It's good for us to see our seniors, our elders, who still have the drive and the passion to work. And so part of the inclusivity that we speak of in this evolving market is going to have to be giving space for persons who are seniors but still have the capacity, for persons with disabilities, for our youth, for persons in deep rural spaces who would not normally be deliberately sought after, for persons who are second-time job seekers. We are redefining how we approach the labor force and how we approach building up the capacity of the labor force. Now, we know that there are several industries. At this roadshow alone, we should have the employers from several industries providing at least 200 vacancies for our participants to explore in terms of the real opportunities that they can get. At every roadshow, I have made it my duty to make sure that I see at least one youngster who came in and left with a job, or at least with a date that they see as a practical, tangible step towards a job. And I must tell you, this is the real catalyst towards economic transformation and economic independence, which is really what the low unemployment rate translates to. Sometimes we say these numbers and persons, yes, you know that it means something good. But in your mind, St. Patricia says, about what that means? 3.5%? What does that impact me? I still want a job. What it means is that we have at least more than 1.5 million Jamaicans now working. It means that more and more we have to look towards not just defining you want a job, but the skills that are required for the new Jamaica, which is why even in discussions around the work permit system, we are very careful to indicate that we are ramping up, revising, refining our work permit system to digitize it so that we can bring in the workers who have particular skills that we don't have here. But the goal is that when you bring in labor, skilled labor, you must now transfer that skill to a Jamaican. And so we have attached conditionalities to many of our work permits because we should not have a closed door. We don't want a Jamaica where we are so stubborn that if we don't have the skill, or if we have the skill but the person doesn't want to do the job, which is at many instances the case, where we do have persons who could do it but they choose not to do it, we should open the door to persons who have the skill, are competent, and want to do the work. But that must be on a balance of skills in terms of bringing in the labor and ensuring that we're transferring the skills to Jamaicans so that we can have that increased and improved skill set here at home. Fostering an enabling environment, building an inclusive Jamaica. That's part of the goal of one of our new public campaigns to transform our country, the I Am Able initiative, which focuses on persons with disabilities and integrating them into the workforce as well. We are proud that in the last year, we have been able to integrate, firstly, 2 young, smart, determined young women who happen to be persons with disabilities, who well, we started with 2, was it 3? 2, okay, yes. So we started with 2 that we were able to select from a rural women's agricultural program that they were a part of with the Abilities Foundation. When I started the discussion, a lot of persons thought it was just semantics, that we're just talking. But again, it goes back to what I said first about attitude. If you get the opportunity to really have a conversation with one of those young women that were participants in the agricultural program, you realize that for them, the challenge that they are faced with, whatever the disability, allows them to see the world in a different way. They don't take for granted what many of you take for granted. They don't wake up thinking that they must have had this day. Everything becomes a gift, a blessing, and so therefore the approach to the work is solid. It is a much more determined approach that comes out. And because of that, we have seen where, in addition to those 2 young women, we had quickly after a call for 2 more persons with disabilities, and we sent up 2 young men. They had a similar approach, and the result is similar. We now have a call for more specific, deliberate approach to getting persons with disabilities integrated into the overseas work program. And we're going to be doing more of that. And I raise that because it's a part of the inclusivity that we speak about in building a resilient workforce in Jamaica. I know that the president of Jeff and JCTU and the mayor and others have already discussed many issues in terms of the labor market and the variables. So I won't go into all of those to repeat that. But I do want to make reference to our Spiral project. The Spiral project, which is a groundbreaking initiative, is one that demonstrates our commitment to the mission of promoting a vibrant labor market. It is a critical project, $20 million US in collaboration with the World Bank, that is going to help us to ensure that we build up in Jamaica the robust social protection framework that we require if we're going to see increased resilience and opportunity for our people. It was launched last year in November. And that is I would say, the mainstay project for us at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security that is driving the significant reforms across social protection programs for our country. And it is important because it has a direct and massive impact on our capacity to have the robust labor force that we require. In just a few months, we have established from that essential government structures, including a project steering committee that has been set up, a technical working group that has been set up, that have laid the foundation now for the success of that program. I don't want you to forget that name, Spyro, because Spyro is going to serve as the catalyst towards us having in Jamaica a program for social security and for labor that will make us the envy of this region. We talk about unemployment insurance benefit, and that's another part of the discussions coming out of Sparrow. We have received cabinet approval already for the new unemployment insurance benefit, which is going to provide, again, another critical element in terms of the resilience of our labor force with vital safety net for workers and their families during times of crisis. We have had the discussion on unemployment benefit for decades. When I say decades, it's older than me. And so what we see now is that the government is focused on getting things done. When we talk about resilience, the unemployment benefit is going to be one of the most critical features in terms of being able to help people who have that transition between jobs or in times of crisis to still stay afloat. And I know that it is welcomed by all Jamaicans. I want to lastly say, before I invite Oda to say a few words, let me acknowledge the team from the ministry. And I want to also acknowledge the tripartite partnership and relationship that we have between government, employers, and workers who are represented by the union. Jamaica stands as an example to many other countries. And we know that more when our international partners and friends from the ILO come and when they visit Jamaica. One of the first things the director asks is, can I come and observe one of your LAC meetings? And that's because of the history of it and the reputation that we have gained as a country, that despite whatever disagreements, confrontation that we may have, we have still been able as government, as employers, and as workers to put Jamaica first. And this is exemplary, and I ask that we give a round of applause for our representatives from Jeff and from JCTU. And we look forward to the continuing good relations. I know that we have a lot of work to do in terms of our sector discussions and in terms of the more detailed, granular work that is required for us to drive Spiral and to build the resilience that we seek. But we are starting from a strong, very, very strong foundation. The Jamaica Productivity Center, I don't know if they spoke already. No? But we should be hearing from them in panel discussions. I want to encourage you to listen carefully to what they have to say, because all of the low unemployment and the movement towards 12 consecutive periods of growth and all of that, that requires productivity if it is to be sustainable. Productivity, productivity, productivity. Something we must repeat, so much so that we start to understand what it means. And that's why the Jamaica Productivity Center is going to be at the forefront of that mission, pioneering the transformative initiatives required to drive efficiency and performance across key sectors. You will hear from them and the discussions that they're having to integrate that in as early as our early childhood institutions, going way up to seniors. Lastly, the Jamaica Business Development Corporation should also be here to have the discussions on enabling entrepreneurship and small business operators. Yes, the backbone of our innovation and economic growth in our country requires us to have the JBDC, who will be helping in terms of empowering our emerging leaders and having discussions with those who have entrepreneurial passion to guide them. We're going to discuss real-world case studies, practical strategies, and proven best practices that will help to transform ideas into thriving business ventures. So we look forward to that as well. Again, and let me welcome Ms. Gillian Corodas, who is here. Again, ladies and gentlemen, today's roadshow is really more than just an information session. It is a platform for empowerment, for engagement, and for action. Our vision for a transformed workforce requires us as a country to have collaboration across government. So you will see other ministries being inspired to do job fairs. We have other ministries that we are working with to build out platforms so that persons in their sector can have access to seek job opportunities. We are working across government, we're working with private sector, working with civil society, so that as we chart the path towards the more resilient and sustainable Jamaica, we do so through continuous learning. As you know, we're lifelong learners, introduction of innovation, and inclusivity in the labor market. I want to call on each and every one who is here to continue to be a leader in terms of being the driving force behind what is our nation's progress. Whether you are here as a community leader, whether you are here as a business owner, whether you're a part of the media or just a passionate citizen that happens to be here, your active involvement is essential. I want to encourage you to be positive. Sometimes we speak so much negative into ourselves, into our business, into our country. Sometimes we cause ourselves to only want to see what is not happening. Open your eyes and allow yourself to see what is taking place good in your country, and to be a part of the process of ensuring that we continue the efforts to build on all of the historic lows and highs that we have that are driving us towards sustainable development. Let us unite our efforts to build that Jamaica that we want, where every individual will have the chance to thrive and not just to survive. Again, thank you to all who are here participating. A big thanks particularly to our employers and to the persons who are assisting in sponsoring employers or sponsoring. I know that some of the job seekers are also getting into support to come out. So thank you to the employers. Thank you to the respective agencies that are a part of this and supporting us. Thank you to Gulfview Hotel, and most importantly, a big thank you to the job seekers who have been confident enough to take the step to come out today. If you are hearing me and you have friends who you know should be here, now is the time to pick up the phone, call your friends, tell them to come by the Gulfview Hotel so that they too can participate and benefit from all that we have here today. Thank you so much. One love.
Thank you so much, Minister, for those inspiring words. And I'm sure you have outlined for us the roadmap that will enable us to have that clear view of where we want to go. With the kind of leadership that we have in our minister, he has shifted us into a higher gear, and we will definitely work towards a stronger workforce. Thanks again, Minister. At this time, we're going to invite the Member of Parliament for this area, Mrs. Rhoda Moore Crawford, to join us and bring greetings. Yes, welcome.
Thank you so much, Acting PS Jennings. Minister Charles, I don't know if you have anything to do with the permanency, but Acting PS Jennings has been doing an excellent job so far. So I'm confident that if she remains as PS, the ministry will strive even more. No comments, Minister? Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning. It's very good to be here, and I'm very sorry to be late. But as you know, it's a very busy time, and quite a number of development is taking place across our constituency that requires my presence. We're developing roads, we're developing water system, and here we are today at a very, very important function. We're developing human capital. I don't know how many of you have stopped to notice that the Ministry of Labor is one of the most important ministries, because it is one of those ministries that deals directly with empowering people and looking after the welfare, especially of our most vulnerable Jamaicans. It's always a pleasure to see one of Jamaica's most successful sons, Wayne Chen. Also always very good to see our mayor of Mandeville, His Worship Donovan Mitchell, my very good friend, who I will meet at a very important event later this year. It's always a pleasure to have Minister Pernell Charles. He's one of Jamaica's most hardworking ministers of labor and social security. And every single time that Minister Charles comes to Manchester Central, he comes with goodies for our people. So give him a round of applause. Of course, I must thank and acknowledge all the business operators, those who are providing employment opportunities. There are 200 spaces to be filled, and of course the many job seekers who are here. Without them, this event would not be possible. And for each of you who are sitting and about to be interviewed, I wish you all the very best in your endeavors. Of course, partnership matters. Government cannot achieve our ultimate goals and ultimate success alone. The ministry can't do it alone. The minister can't do it alone. Member of Parliament can't do it alone. Mayor can't do it alone. Councillors can't do it alone. We need the participation and partnership from the private sector. And I'm very happy that every time the government has called upon the private sector, they're always very quick to partner with us and to provide real opportunities to our people. I don't need to say much more except that I wish for all of us here a very successful day, and again, a very special thank you to the Ministry of Labor, especially our Manchester staff minister. They have been doing an excellent job, and we see how well, give them a round of applause. Person's strength is often tested in crisis, and we saw how they were up, they were out, and how well they handled the relief efforts following the passage of Hurricane Beryl and so many other emergency situations that they have had to respond to. So thank you very much, and of course the media, always good to have you, because too often we spend so much time showcasing the negative, and of so many good things that are happening are not featured. So it's very good that the media is here, so that they can show the rest of Jamaica what is truly happening here. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Member of Parliament, for your greeting. And we recognize the work that is taking place in the parish. I couldn't find my way to the Mandeville that I knew. So we are coming to a close, but even before we close, I want to formally acknowledge two special guests that are with us today. and they will be introduced much later when they share in the panel discussion that we're having. But let us recognize Mrs. Ada Shem Hassani, consultant to the Ministry of Labor and Social Security under the Sparrow project, which Minister spoke about, and also Mr. Trond Henning Olaisen, another consultant with the ministry. And they have started to review and enhance the electronic labor exchange business processes and the labor market information system platform that we have. So let's welcome them. Could you stand, please? Thanks for coming. What a journey it has been today. We have come through some twists and turns, but we are clearly on the road to creating a more resilient and sustainable workforce. As we draw near to the end of this phase of the journey, I'm confident that with all the collaboration we have seen so far through our partners, the tripartite, as well as our job seekers and the guests that we have here, we're heading down the fast lane toward a brighter, better, and stronger workforce. At this time, I'm going to invite Ms. Gillian Corodas, the Director in the Ministry responsible for industrial relations and other services, to join us and to give the vote of thanks. Let's invite her to join us.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Acting Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Dion Jennings. And I should tender my sincere apology for being late. But the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, by the vision and instructions, directives of our Honorable Minister, has pledged support to Jamaica, that the MLSS will be on the go, and we have been on the go. So I'm actually traveling from Montego Bay, because we could not disappoint the tourism industry that wanted to ensure that the ministry's presence was felt in its appreciation of its staff. So please accept my apology. The Ministry of Labor and Social Security has a tremendous debt of gratitude to the Gulf View Hotel. I want to especially acknowledge the management and staff of the Gulf View Hotel that has really stepped up. Yes, you can clap them, man. They have really stepped up as a true partner to this ministry in staging this, our Manchester Region Roadshow. We have had a series of roadshows under the theme Transforming Jamaica's Workforce for Greater Resilience and Sustainable Development. And as Minister said, it is not just a roadshow. It is a true consultation so that Jamaica can move forward together. We have so far began the job fair, and I have been told that over 200 job seekers already have registered and are accessing, as we speak, opportunities that are life-changing. Acting Permanent Secretary Jennings, we want to thank you for your leadership of this ministry, and we recognize that your role is very significant in addressing the needs of the vulnerable, but at the same time, the most productive in Jamaica. Honorable Minister, your leadership, and I would have just said it, the MLSS on the go, has really indicated to Jamaica that as an active ministry, it is very important that the public not just knows our work, but feels the impact of our work. And this roadshow is part of the MLSS On The Go. Your contribution has significantly altered in a positive way Jamaica's labor market. We thank the leadership of the parish, His Worship Mayor, Councillor Donovan Mitchell, for opening the gates to Mandeville. Without your support as a parish, we would not be able to engage in this manner. We have two organizations that I'm almost going to say are part of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. And they know themselves. The Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, represented by St. Patrice Ennis. St. Patrice, we thank you very much, because the workers of Jamaica are positive and confident that their interests and rights, fundamental rights at work, are protected. We acknowledge and thank the Jamaica Employer Federation, and it is very important that at a roadshow of this magnitude, the leadership of the tripartite is represented. And we want to also thank you, Mr. Wayne Chen. I know this is your backyard and your playground, but we want to thank you for choosing to be here with us today. It is very important. The employers, they are actively in this room, and they're also in the interview rooms. We want to express our profound gratitude, as your input is extremely important as we continue to provide and unlock opportunities for job seekers. Job seekers, there are many countries that today cannot boast that they have a historic reduction in unemployment, 3.5%. Jamaica, we little but we tallawa. And I want to say that it redounds to the success that we have had in mobilizing persons to gain active employment. And to help us in this pursuit, we have two consultants with us here. They were just acknowledged. We want to acknowledge and thank you for making the trek with us out of town to be here and to look and feel the impact that we make with the employers and workers of Jamaica. The U.S. Department of Labor, they have been on a roll with us, and they are on our program here. I want to acknowledge them because they have indicated that our roadshows mean a lot to them. Just last Thursday, they joined our Honorable Minister in studio, not in studio, but on radio, to indicate their strong commitment and partnership to employment of Jamaican workers. And for that, we want to acknowledge their contribution to the roadshow that we're having and to future roadshows. In this ministry, we are not without entertainment, right? Because we have to balance, it's a life balancing operation, right? And when we talk about work-life balance, we have to ensure that both the body and the mind is, ladies and gentlemen, to have you here and to thank you for staying the course with us and invite you to continue as we move into the information and very interactive sessions. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Corodos. And I also want to acknowledge personally the team from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, particularly those from the parish office, Ms. Delanor Grant, the parish manager for the regional parish manager for the Labor Department. And so I want to acknowledge the team. Could you stand, persons from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, whether from the parish office or from the head office? Thank you so much. And as we close out, we will close out with another item from Mr. Heron. Here? Or maybe he gave us everything already. Let's give him a hand as he prepares. We will have a short 5 minutes break where you can stand and stretch, and then we'll move to the next session where we'll have the presentation on Jamaica, from the Jamaica Productivity Center. So let's take a 5 minutes break, as you wish.
Good afternoon. We are about to reconvene and kickstart the information session. Thank you. I see a nice smile on there. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your attention at this time because we're about to head into our presentation by the Jamaica Productivity Center. I am Melissa Kolash-Manahan, and I ask for you to join with me in welcoming our senior research analyst from the Jamaica Productivity Center here at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Dr. Sarah Buckland Reynolds. Please make her feel welcome.
All right, good morning, everyone. Good, or 1 minute before midday, so I am correct in saying good morning. I know everyone is probably hungry, that's why I'm not hearing your response very well, but good morning all the same. All right, wonderful. So how is everyone doing today? They're doing okay. I hope that's the response from everyone. All right, so just for protocol, before I begin, I'm hoping that the technical person up there will be able to get back my slide up there. But in the meantime, Custis Garfield Green, Minister of Labor and Social Security, the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., Permanent Secretary, Acting Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Dion Jennings, and our moderator, the Mayor of Mandeville, Councillor Donovan Mitchell, MP Miss Rhoda Crawford, distinguished guests, industry partners, we have had, as was already acknowledged, Mr. Wayne Chen as well from the Jamaica Employers Federation, Mr. St. Patrice Ennis, President of the JCTU, and all our distinguished guests. Please pardon me if I have missed out anyone. I just want to welcome you again. Some of you have stepped out already, but I know I have to work to keep your attention at this time of the day, so I've actually prepared a very interactive presentation. If you have your smartphone, I would like you to go to menti.com. That's MENTI.com. All right, so in the meanwhile, well, the slides have not come up yet, but I will still proceed. Personnel upstairs, can you let me know if it is my laptop or your equipment? Do you need my help? You're okay? Okay, and we'll also need someone to please dim the lights so that when my slides do come up, you can actually see, because my aim today is to leave with you 5 strategies, 5 practical strategies to boost your productivity. So we've heard of some of the accomplishments, but how does that feed in to me as an employer, as a business owner, or even as an employee, right? Because our future of work, so my presentation had been up for some hours, so you'd have seen the slide. Can somebody tell me what you remember was the title? Were you paying attention? And what was behind? Boosting productivity. Well, is it on the program? Probably it's on the program too. Okay, all right. We actually have some giveaways. Hopefully my team will come in and actually have it to help me distribute. But I'll be asking you some questions, and we have a few branded items. So I'm hoping that this will keep your attention, all right? So, as was mentioned, I am the Senior Research Analyst at the Jamaica Productivity Center. Hopefully most of you have already heard of the JPC, but if you have not, who we are actually a department within this wonderful Ministry of Labor and Social Security. And our big task is to actually, we're the national entity responsible for promoting innovation, promoting competitiveness, and productivity across sectors, all sectors. So how do we do this, right? So we have 3 units. We actually go on the ground, or technical assistance and services unit, and assist firms. We conduct what we call productivity audits. Show of hands of anyone who has ever heard of that service. That the Ministry of Labor actually has a service where you can get a free rapid assessment of your firm, your processes, your productivity, and get some feedback on how you can reduce waste, how you can operate and actually improve your processes. Has anyone ever heard of those services? No? Well, I'm here to tell you today we actually have a booth outside, so if you would like that, this can be a game changer, and we're trying not to just be here telling you ideas. We want to walk with you, right? So please do visit the booth, and we have our email address that will, our wonderful email address that will be on the screen later on the slide. Hopefully that will get your attention. So in addition to those audits, we do workshops, trainings, and my unit is the research and measurement unit, which basically looks at case studies locally and overseas and tries to feed it into policy building to make better decisions, more informed decisions. All right, so enough of that background. Back to what I said, I want us to be interactive. So I'll be doing this if I needed to change a slide, right? So can you please change? Change again? All right, I've already gone through JPC and our units, so we can move on, please. All right, so now I want to hear from you. I have 3 questions. So menti.com, there is a section for you to put in a code. The code here, as you can see, is 7467-5612. That's 7467 5612. All right? So ready if you're there. Ready? Ready, set, go. Ready. 1. All right, I hear already. All right, so I can go on. You're supposed to see a question there. And the question would be, have you experienced a significant change in the way you work in the past 3 years? So we're not even going back to COVID yet. Just the past 3 years in terms of technology or the style of how you have to work or the expectations of your boss. I want to see. So as you click on the answers, actually you should see it real time. I'm hoping technology does not fail me today because I'm not seeing the plugin. All right, persons at the laptop, can you see if it's loading? Do you see a loading symbol on the screen? If not, you could just escape. It's loading. All right. If it doesn't continue to load, if it doesn't load, I'm going to just do it the old-fashioned way with the show of hands. But we have the backup, as I said, to press escape, go to Internet Explorer, and it's up there. So you can just show that. All right? Good. So I'm not seeing anyone. Remember, it's interactive. I want it to be interactive. All right. If you're having issues, let's just move on in the interest of time. All right? So just show of hands if you have experienced a significant change in the way you work in the last 3 years. Yeah, that's fine. Show of hands. No one. Everyone is working the way they used to work. Wow. All right. All right. Nobody has changed. All right. Okay. Okay. This is very interesting. All right. My next question then is, could your current job be automated, or are you concerned that your current job could be replacing, or that your skills could be replaced in the next few years? Does anyone have that concern? No, you don't have that concern. Does everyone agree with this young man? No, man, look like you all need to wake up. Wake up. All right, all right. We're going to the discussion, but why do you say no? Just a quick 5 seconds. Okay, people problems that you have to solve, okay? All right. I love your perspective. Thanks for participating. We will move on very quickly, right? For participating, my team, someone had pointed out to me the thing. You can give him a pen just for participating, please. Thank you. All right. Not to lose momentum, right? We're talking about boosting productivity and resilience for the future of work. We're using terms that I want to define. Can you please go back to the PowerPoint? The first term is productivity. We've been using this term, productivity, and I want one person to just help me to define that term, because it is something that it's flashed around and many persons have just a half definition of productivity. So I want to hear someone brave, yes, someone brave to tell me what you know as productivity, what you define as productivity, please. Okay, wow, give her a round of applause. She said, productivity is the attitude of the work that you put in, what you will get out at the end. I am so happy that what you mentioned, both, not just the profits, because some persons think is what you produce. Productivity is production. But it's not as simple as that, because you can have two, let's say 2 farmers, right? Then both of them produce 5 tons or 50 tons of breadfruit. And the farmer 1 planted 50 seedlings. Farmer 2 only planted 25. Who is more productive? They both had the same output, the same 50 tons. But one planted half the amount, one had less inputs, but was able to convert it to the same amount as someone who planted more. The one who planted less, he was able to use his smaller resources, double it up. This is what we need, right? It's not just what you produce. So it's important, the processes. So there are two terms, efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency that we're going to deal with, and I'm giving you the keys to these, so just bear with me, this is just preliminaries. Efficiency is how much can you produce. How well you produce is how effective. So we're not only looking at the quantity, we're looking at the quality, all right? Bear that in mind. Next term is resilience. You're going to see a person who is trying to hold up some falling dominoes. Sometimes our workplaces feel like that. Everything is changing and falling. The dynamics of everything, things are disrupting. So resilience is another key term that we have been putting forward in this ministry as very important in this period of change in the future direction of work. So what do we mean by this word? It just really means if there's changes around you, can you adapt? Can you adjust to recover quickly from the disruption? All right, so when I'm talking, this is all I'm talking about. And I'm going to be giving you 5 strategies to be literally READI. These are an acronym that hopefully will stick with you to help you to navigate and be more productive for the future of work, all right? Before I move on, there's another Menti exercise, but I'll just do the show of hands. It's a one-word vision of the future of work. How do you, wherever you are from, perceive the future of work to be? All right, I want 3 answers, and remember we have things given away if you participate, so don't be shy. I know it's probably not conventional in this kind of setting, but I like to interact. So just help me out. Think of future of work. What do you think of when you hear that term? The future of work. Less labor. Less labor, okay. All right, so another, you can give her, Brandon, you can also help with the distribution or whoever was put in charge. Yeah? AI, all right, and a 4-day work week. All right, we all want that? Is there anybody's against that here? No? Okay, all right. All of those are very valid. We're going to be talking about that and the disruption, because everything has pros and cons, right? So we're going to have to see how, as employers, how can we adapt? As employees, how can we adapt that all of these changes? Because if we have a 4-day work week, we're going to have to adjust the pace that we work and how much we do if we're going to maintain and even improve our productivity. The key issue here is navigating change. Are you ready? Okay, so really we're looking at transformation. How will it be transformed given the economic and social changes? So, enough of that introduction. Ready. R. R is being relational. E is being environmentally conscious. A is being agile. D is digitally ready. And I is being innovative. All right? We're going to go through each. So, be ready. Be relational. Be environmentally conscious. Be agile, be digitally ready, and be innovative. Don't take these lightly. These, I'm just distilling information from a lot of research that has gone into just 5 keys from case studies. So I'll be sharing some case studies from India, from Singapore, from Germany that we can emulate, right? So first, what do I mean by relational? You can move to the next slide. 2 slides. 2 slides, yes. All right, you see this spinning globe? That is how our world is now. We're living in a more and more globalized, more connected world. But while that has facilitated a lot, it also has made more complexity in several things that we have to do as employers and employees. So what is our solution? Our solution is to be strategic in partnerships. What do I mean by that? It just means to have agreements between businesses to collaborate. And why is this such a key to be ready for the future of work? Why? Some of the benefits, next slide. Benefits includes sharing knowledge, sharing resources, right? So or Mayo just spoke about Jampro and NEPA and the strategic partnership that they enjoyed, right? There are many things that we cannot do on our own, and we usually try and fight it out on our own, but we do have to change that mindset. It's not that we're going to just be random. We have to be strategic, as the word suggests, but being relational, do not underestimate the power of that. It offsets our weaknesses, fosters innovation, expands markets, right? And especially if you're a startup, I don't know if there's anyone who has a startup right now, show of hands. Would you say your business is in a startup stage or wants to actually do a startup? One, all right, at least there's this one. So one good thing about strategic partnerships is enhancing your credibility. So if you find someone else that you can actually collaborate with and you actually enter the market with that partnership, that can be a very big stepping stone, right? So it's very important as a foundation, being relational to be ready for the future of work. We have a success story just speaking about the highway, the partnership between the government and the private sector, increasing our efficiency and travel time. Many of us went on the highway. So I just want to find out from you, what is your relational partnership, whether you're an employee, whether you're an employer, that would bring you towards your productivity highway, right? So we are on the roadshow. We need to think how we're going to move forward. So R means relational. Good. Now next to E. Or E is environmentally conscious. Why am I bringing environment into the future of work? Well, from statistics in terms of health, in terms of market trends, in terms of policies, this is the direction that every industry is actually going. I have some stats that I'm going to show you quickly. Can you move on, please, with the slide? All right, someone is operating the slide. All right, while they are doing that, for your health, did you know that if you work in an environment that is not polluted, so you don't work where you have the exhaust and the pollutants, you can double. Research from the Harvard Business Review actually shows that 50 to 100% increased performance is usual among workers in non-polluted environments compared to those who work in polluted environments. So just by changing your workspace, if you can, some things are not changeable, but at least by protecting your health, that can help you to be more productive on a personal level. But if you are a producer or an employer, think of market trends as well. Why am I putting environmental consciousness as a key to be ready for the future of work? Look at Google searches. Between 2017 and 2022, there has been a 130%, that's more than double, increase in Google searchings for persons looking for sustainable products. What does that mean? That's the market trend. Persons who actually have products that are marketed as sustainable actually have a growth rate of 2.7 times faster than those who are not marketed as sustainable. So let's say I'm marketing soap. If I say it's a natural soap and it is actually true and it's a sustainable product, you're more likely to get traffic, right? So I have a case of NWC, for example, that is putting in their floating water system project over the Mona Reservoir, and this has been saving, or is projected to save, millions, right? So being environmentally conscious can have an upfront investment, but the research is there. The returns are worth the investment, all right? So just to wake you up, tell me, what is RE, please? Relational and environmentally conscious. Wonderful. We are halfway. A is agile and adaptive. All right. We have heard the expression as agile as? Right. What is this monkey doing? It's swinging from tree to tree. All right. And the monkey has his reasons why I want to swing from tree to tree. But think of it as us having to change. You see an opportunity elsewhere, you have to make the decision to not fall, but to move in a way that can be flexible enough, act timely, and be committed in your move to actually survive. So I wanted to just have this image in your mind before I go in. So I have a quote from the World Economic Forum. This is from a report that was published just last month. It is fresh, and I wanted to pay attention because I'm going to be listing very soon the 15 jobs or 15 skills that have been listed here as being most in demand for the next 5 years. So if you are a job seeker or anyone, many of these also include soft skills, as Minister Charles had mentioned about the more demand of soft skills as well, all right? So pay attention, this is something that's important. So why should we be agile? Because change is inevitable, and this says here, the shifts in the job market, so trends such as technological advancements, economic uncertainty, demographic shifts, geo-economic fragmentation, and the green transition are predicted to create 170 million jobs, displacing 92 million roles, but with a resulting in a net increase of 78 million jobs by 2030. 2030 is just 5 years from now. So we will, yes, there will be changes in our job roles. Some jobs will be taken over. However, there is a net increase, right? So what does that mean for you? What does that mean for me? That means that we'll have to reskill. We'll have to be adaptive to try and fill these new demands in the job market that are coming up. And I want to, again, have a thing here, the same man with the dominoes. Why do we need to shift? We have natural hazards, especially in where we're situated. Hurricanes, earthquakes, we have geopolitical shocks, all of these different things, the demographic shifts as was alluded to earlier with our wonderful saxophonist. We have populations who are aging but are still able to work. So how can we as a workforce, how can we as policymakers be adaptive enough that we can maximize the productivity potential of our population, right? Again, more stats, because as you, I want this to be evidence-based, right? It is projected by LinkedIn in their report, recent report, that 59% of the global workforce will need upskilling, more than half. So I have my PhD. Many of you might have the same level or other things than you're doing, but I have to continuously improve myself. My studies a decade ago are not necessarily where the job market is now. And so that's the attitude that we have to have no matter how high our education is, no matter where we are. It's important that we still realize we not become complacent, right? So that's what I want to get into you today. Be agile, right? And what I mentioned about what it means. I'm going to give you 3 keys of being agile. Can you move on, please? The speed. How quickly can you as an employer identify and learn the skills that your organization needs? Maybe you realize that since the COVID pandemic, your supply chain has changed. How can do you just complain? Do you just keep doing the research and seeing the problem, or are you becoming solution oriented, seeing if you need a new role in your organization, right? How committed are your employees to apply the learning opportunities that you receive, and flexibility. I just need to do a time check. I don't know who is doing the time check. If I have about 10 minutes that I can spare, but if not, I'll just speed in the interest of time. I promised you a list of 15 skills. They're on the next slide. I can continue? All right, wonderful. So, if you want to take a photograph, take a photograph. But this is in the Future of Jobs 2025 report. This is cutting edge. These are the skills that we need to be adaptive towards. Top is AI and big data. That can be a whole presentation in itself. We're going to touch a little on it when the digitally ready portion. But it's not only that, right? We have networks and cybersecurity, technological literacy, but then most of the other skills are soft skills, right? Creative thinking. Can you think outside of the box? Right? Resilience, flexibility, agility, curiosity and lifelong learning, leadership and social influence, right? So learning how to be a leader, managing talent, analytical thinking, environmental stewardship, systems thinking, thinking about the interconnections in inputs and outputs and just knowing how to improve the flow and processes of what you do, right? Motivation, self-awareness, empathy, and active listening. I'm hoping that we will be active listeners so you can be following along, right? Design and user experience, and then service orientation and customer service. So please pay attention to these. This is where the world is going. This is where the future of work is going. This is why we are showing you this, to give you the tools to be ready. All right? Last two are being digitally ready and being innovative and entrepreneurial in your mindset, right? Okay. I'm sure that's probably what you thought I was going to do my entire presentation on, because everything is digitization and digitalization, but for good reason. But I also wanted to also highlight the other things, the other soft skills. So let me give you two stats. All right, we see 45% on the screen. There's a term here that's called a high digital maturity firm. Part of it is further down here. What that simply means is that if your organization effectively integrates technology into its operations, right, and into its culture and its strategy, you will more than likely increase your revenue by 45%, and this is from Deloitte, D-E-L-O-I-T-T-E Insights. All right, so you can read up more on that. So what can you do with 45% increase in your revenue? Business owners, tell me, what does that mean tangibly if your revenue increases by 45%? Tell me, what would you do now with that in your pocket? More investment, wonderful, wonderful. Do we have any more prizes? Remember, I want you all to talk to me. I'm not going to be just talking to myself, all right? Didn't hear. Offer more employment. That's a wonderful way to think, both of you. All right, thank you. So my team. Buying equipment. I'm so happy that you're all thinking about reinvestment, right? And not just, spending. But even if you're not a high digital maturity firm, even if you're a low digital maturity firm, but you do incorporate some digital investment in your operations, they still experience some increase in revenue by 15%. So the point is, even if you have to start small, there is a marked improvement in your revenue if you incorporate digitalization. But some people might think, can move on to the next slide, please. Some people might think, oh, this is just for persons in computer science fields if you're a techie, but no. You can be in construction. We have something called digital twinning, right? Anybody ever heard of that, right? You don't have to have the physical model of your construction site. Anyone heard of that before? Digital twinning, right? We can do it in office administration. I'm not sure if any of you have used read.ai or any of those technologies before in your meetings to help you with compiling minutes, right? Has anyone heard of that? Show of hands. Or a similar one? At least I see one. All right, great. All right, so it's for any firm, right? And it can really mean the difference between Recovery Drive and Recession Street. Because we found that firms that have digitalized have reduced their sales loss by 2% from the recession, and firms that have digitalized before a recession have reduced their sales loss by 4%. This might sound small, right? 2%, little 2%, but think of this. If you had $1 billion worth of sales and you had a 2%, if you could avoid 2% loss, tell me how much you would have saved. Mathematicians. $1 billion, but you save 2%. Sometimes the numbers help you too. But if you can't calculate it, I think I heard it. 20 million? $20 million of savings if you had $1 billion worth of profit, right? So you try, this is no small impact, even though the numbers might look small. But the issue that we have here is that Jamaica is lagging behind. This is from a 2021 survey, a Caribbean-wide survey that found that Jamaica has the second lowest AI usage in the Caribbean. Hopefully within the last 4 years, this statistic would have changed, right? But there's somehow some skepticism among some managers. Some persons think that their roles will be taken away. I was speaking some months ago to a group in Boulevard Baptist Church, and a lady was telling me that she's wondering about if her role is going to be redundant from AI, right? So this is something that we still have to address, to look at the complementarity between the human element, emotional intelligence, as well as making AI do its job to help you be more efficient, right? All right, let's move on quickly. I'm going to be just quickly going through the case studies for India. So we're looking at manufacturing, services, and tourism. India has among the highest incorporation of digitalization in the world in their services sector, right? So we look at them, and some of these things are basically simple that we already have access to here in Jamaica, right? Cloud computing, things even simple as utilizing storage platforms such as Google Drive or OneDrive to make sure things are streamlined better, data analytics, artificial intelligence, right? So Jamaica has a growing business processing outsourcing sector, and it can adopt these technologies to improve, right? And that can help us, we can improve project management, client interactions. We look at Germany for manufacturing. We have the Internet of Things that have been integrated in the case of German manufacturing, where they have sensors that can detect equipment failure real time. So you don't have to have someone monitoring all the time, right? I mentioned about digital twinning and automation. And so in Jamaica, why don't we, even small-scale manufacturers, start with basic tools? I have on the next slide a list of some AI tools that can be used in project management, right? And if you want a copy of this afterwards, we have Asana, we have ClickUp, some of these things that you've seen on ads on YouTube, even though sometimes ads are annoying, it makes use to actually explore them, right? Because many of them have free plans to just help you get your feet wet a bit. You don't have to be afraid of these things because they can make a real difference. I will be wrapping up very soon. This is the last case study. Singapore, tourism, right? Singapore actually had a program that they call the Tourism Accelerator Program, and it has been very revolutionary, right? So they incorporated it throughout the entire tourism industry, including energy saving, temperature control, food and beverage robots, data analytics. And in Jamaica, we rely so much on tourism. Why don't we use it to increase efficiency in planning itineraries? Why don't we continue to do that? And our ministries have been making headway in that. In the recent tourism conference that was held, there were a lot of good things going on. So in closing, it would have been really good if I could find 10 business owners to stand up, but I don't know if I'm going to actually be able to get 10 to stand, because people don't even want to speak, unless stand, right? But, all right, why? Why do I want that? If I saw 10 business owners standing in here, unfortunately, if you're representing the businesses in Jamaica, at least 40% of all businesses will die in the next 10 years, and we don't want that to be any of us in here who are business owners. I want it to be a statistic that you remember, right? I do not want any of you to fail. We are trying to build you up. But I want you to know, being productive takes effort, but you can be ready with these 5 steps, right? So it does not have to be you. Why do they fail? If they don't figure out how to change their entire company to accommodate new technologies, right? So it does not have to be you. Can you be ready? I have a prize for the person who can tell me again what is ready, because I want it to stick. This is just the key. Am I ready? Tell me. Somebody who is brave. Please do not show it on the screen yet. Okay. Relational. Because if everybody is speaking, I won't be able to give one person a prize. She started first. You want to try? Do you know all 5? All right, you said relational. What was the second? Okay, great.
Relational, environmental, agile, digital, and innovative.
Okay, wonderful. Give her a round of applause. All right, great. So will you say you're ready? Are you ready? Do you feel at least you can get ready for the future of work to be more productive? Yes. I'm so happy I hear yes. And anybody who feels no will walk with you. As I said, Jamaica Productivity Center, we do audits at firms. We go on the ground side by side with you to help you to become more productive. We have a survey. Usually we want feedback in what you want to hear. How was the presentation? There's a QR code that should be shown here if you'd like to do that survey to give us your feedback. And then on the next slide, we have our email address if you need to reach out to us. That is, if you have pen and paper, I'll just say it. It's jpc@mlss.gov.jm. All right, so thank you for listening, and hopefully we'll all be ready for the future of work. And blessings to everyone. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Buckland Reynolds. Did you all learn something today? Yes, because I heard the answers to the questions being asked, and I really, really appreciate you participating. And I think some persons won some prizes. Have you all gotten your prizes already? No? Right. Are there any questions for Dr. Buckland? No question? That crystal clear? Wow. Dr. Buckland Reynolds, crystal clear. Everybody understood? Oh, so I'm sorry. One question. Could I have a roving mic, please?
Thank you. Dr. Buckland noted that they will assist with a productivity audit. Did you say it was free? And how do we go about that?
All right, so thanks for that question. There are two types of audits. We have a rapid assessment, snapshot audit. That one is free. The other one is not. So to contact us if you have a pen and paper, and it's on the next slide. Oh, it's here. Email JPC. Sorry, my eyes are not focusing because I can't remember who were the mic. You. Okay, jpc@mlss.gov.jm. Yes, you can always snap it. But
and you do manufacturing as well?
Right, any type of industry. We've done Grace Kennedy, we've done several large and small businesses. So you're welcome to email us and we'll get back to you. Thanks so much for the interest.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Oh, right there.
So we started with the idea of people problems. Right, so maybe from your experience, you could probably guide us. So there are those in our organizations that believe their jobs could be overtaken with technology, and as a result, there is some amount of resistance to acceptance. It gets worse when they begin to put themselves in overdrive in an effort to demonstrate that you really don't need the technology because I can produce optimally. And that affects the human part of the persons, right? So from your experience, is there any kind of guidance in overcoming this particular problem? Because it's real.
All right, thank you for that. That's a very deep question. It has to do with trust, and changing the mindset is something that has to be a process. I think employers can do, you mentioned emotional intelligence before, they can reassure their staff that you're just incorporating technology not to replace the human element, but to complement it, right? I believe the unions are also there to assure our workers that their jobs, they have the right to lobby, right? And so I believe it has to do more on the soft skills side and encouraging them to upskill, that it's not something that, just as the skills that they have for their job, incorporating technological skills will actually be an asset to let them be more secure. But I do think a big part of this has to do with soft skills, because changing mindsets from the psychological point of view is not a rapid overnight process. So I don't have a fulsome response, but those are the ideas that come to mind. I don't know if anyone in the audience has a similar case study that they wanted to share, if anyone from your organization was resistant to change in technology use, and if you were successful in at least letting them get their foot wet in it. That would help the conversation. That's why we're here, to share our experiences. But really, you have to walk with them and reassure them that you're not incorporating technology to replace. They will have to try and reskill, but whether or not it's technology, it would be some other change that they would have to try and be adaptive to, right? And so just incentivizing skill sets we have the TIU that is offering free courses on AI and technology, right? So things that if you're in the public sector, that is available through the RUN project. And so offering them opportunities to learn more about what this really entails, and walking with them through emotional intelligence and showing them that this is not really our intention. This is to just help with processes. So hand in hand with technology, not tech versus man. All right?
Produce pudding. I'm a person that produce pudding. I do puddings.
Okay,
and
great.
Somebody came to my house and saw me grating the coconut. Mm-hmm. And the person said to me, look here, Maisie, it would be easy for you if you have a booster. You would just cut up your coconut and in no time you get it out. And really, I have a sharp grater, and I move fast with the gratering. So I just admit to the person that, thank you for your advice. I will try and get myself one, because really, he's trying to make me know that I can manage my thing quicker by having the equipment that I need. You understand?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
this is how technology. The use of technology come in is to assist us, to make us be ready for whatever we are doing faster and get it in no time to complete,
Right,
so
right.
I really go and decide my mind that to go the technology way, I would have to adjust myself in getting my production going.
Right, right.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing. Give her a round of applause. You got something before for your participation, correct? Oh, wonderful. All right, so you can still give her, thank you. Your contribution is very valid. And yeah, thanks again for everyone else. I don't know if any, yes? All right.
Yes, digitalization seem to be putting a lot of our eggs in the digitalization basket. And your chart shows that Jamaica is lagging behind most of the other countries in digitalization. And we have to stop and wonder why. My experience is that technology is moving so fast that you buy some equipment this year, and by next year you can't get any parts for it because a new equipment come in, a new technology come in, and because of that it is hard to keep up with the trend with the new technology. And every time you purchase a new one, it adds more cost to your operation. So that is one of the hurdles I guess people like you will have to help Jamaicans overcome, in that how much will it cost me to keep up with the technology, to keep digitalize my business, rather than do it the old-fashioned way and still get the thing done, but it don't cost me as much. You understand?
Yeah, that's a very valid point. Thank you for sharing that. I do know that we have there are some grants available for different, with different technological solutions as well to help businesses, but it's definitely something that's valid. I think that we have to see if there's a channel that's why we said relational, having partnerships can assist where we don't have resources. We can share resources with persons who actually have the revenue to upgrade our equipment. I would also say that a lot of the digitalized equipment are software, and so that's the positive part of this, that you know, sometimes the expense is the subscription and not necessarily the hardware. But find strategic partnerships, and if you need to contact JPC to bring your ideas as well, because our unit is always looking for directions for research, and we definitely appreciate that because we feed directly into policy and brainstorming, right? So thanks for sharing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I like how we're connecting the dots based on the presentation, boosting and how productivity, yes, you're gonna boost your productivity by using the bullet, right? Right, thank you so much. Mrs. Jennings, can I invite you to come to the stage, please? Because we are very appreciative of the presentations that was done by Dr. Sarah Buckland-Reynolds, so we want to show you how much we appreciate what you have presented here this afternoon.
The presentation, but I need to say something. Dr. Sarah, right? Yes. Buckland. Yes. Okay. Dr. Sarah Buckland-Reynolds, I want to thank you so much for your presentation. And we know, based on the interaction and participation of the persons here, even at the end of it, then you will recognize how grateful they are. So thank you so much again. And we know that the Productivity Center is We know that the Jamaica Productivity Center is ensuring that Jamaica becomes a more productive nation, and want to thank you for the work that you continue to do.
Thank you. Ooh. All right, thank you so much. Now I'm going to invite you to remain seated, because at this time we're going to refresh you as we prepare for our panel discussions. that are coming up next. So I invite you to remain seated, and you will be given instructions by our ushers as how to proceed. Okay, so we're going to have a little interlude of music to just, they said when music hits you, what happens? You feel no pain. So just remain seated, okay? Thank you for your attention. I really, really love the engagement.